All right, everyone, this is the topic that we all want to know the answer to. How do adolescents use social media to navigate their mental health? This is a question I'm going to answer today. Okay, so let's start off with some essential background information. Screen time use has nearly doubled since the COVID-19 pandemic, because everything now these days is online, communication, education, etc. Teenagers say that they use over 7.7 hours of screen time. Broadly construed, social media are websites that allow people to connect with others. They're essential to explore, as depression rates are rising, nearly doubling within the last decade, and because they provide vital support for some, especially those that can't afford a psychologist or for people who don't have a strong family background. Okay, let's start with an overview. This is something that no one wants to talk about, but the drawbacks behind social media. Social media can lead to addiction, which thus causes anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, etc. Additionally, it leads to the fear of missing out, also known as FOMO. There's the pressure to present a perfect image. Some people, like influencers, have the job to do such a thing, to present a perfect image to their users so that they can gain a following. Additionally, there's constant comparison to others and exposure to cyberbullying and hate speech, all of which can lead to disorders such as anxiety, depression, self-esteem, etc. But with everything, social media has its benefits. It allows people to connect with others, providing readily accessible information, especially for mental health. It gives the opportunities for empowerment and advocacy. For example, many activists use their social media following to disseminate information. Additionally, social media reduces the stigma and increases the understanding behind mental health issues. Okay, let's get into the methods. I use Reddit to collect data. So I went under the Our Teenager subreddit and searched mental health, depression, anxiety, and self-esteem. Mental health, it was kind of more of a broad category to get a general consensus of the entire community, and depression, anxiety, and self-esteem were some smaller subcategories within that larger category of mental health. Then the top posts within the last year were collected, and the best comments within each of these posts were also collected. So in total, we had 400 posts and comments. All of these posts and comments were assigned a number 1 through 5 based on a uses and gratifications category, which I will explain next. We use a specific method to assign these categories. For example, each post and comment had a specific keyword that determined which category it would fall into. So the uses and gratifications theory was originated in around like the 1940s, 1950s, but it really took off in 1944 or 1974 when Elihu Katz took a deep dive into this theory. It states that media use is to fulfill desire and is motivated. The following 5 reasons explain why people would use media. So first, we have information seeking. People would use media to learn more about something they're curious about or to satiate their desire for learning. Social identification, entertainment purposes, which include posting jokes and memes, maybe to alleviate your own stress or just to act as a comedian to help others. Social interactions, and lastly, coping with your daily stresses. Social media can act as an emotional catharsis where people can talk about their problems of their daily life so that they can feel better. This is especially helpful for those who don't have the opportunities to talk with other people, maybe because they have a poor background or because they can't afford a psychologist. So social media has many uses which it could be used for. So why did we choose Reddit? So Reddit is an easily accessible and free website that has millions of members, providing data from a diverse range of individuals that would be difficult to locate otherwise. Additionally, Reddit is anonymous, which gives people the opportunity to share their thoughts without being recognized. So our hypothesis was that teenagers use social media to identify with others and give advice. Our results were slightly different than what we expected. Okay, so for mental health as a broad category, we expected for a lot of posts to be under the 4 category, social interaction and support. As you can see, 52.5% of all posts and comments fell under this category. Surprisingly, a lot of people posted for entertainment purposes, to make memes, jokes, etc. Surprisingly, the number of people that posted for social identification was also quite low. Now let's look into anxiety, one of the 3 categories that we look deeper into. Again, there was a lot of people who posted for social interaction and support, but then again, lots of people posted for entertainment purposes. Additionally, not many people posted to cope with their stresses or for social identification, which led us to certain conclusions. Depression was also similar to the previous 2 categories. Over 50% of users posted for social interaction and support, but then again, a relatively large number of posters, 21.7%, posted for entertainment purposes. And lastly, for self-esteem, nearly 62% of people posted for social interaction and support, while 22.1% posted for entertainment purposes. Merely 12.4% posted for social identification, while coping and information seeking made up the final 4% of users. Okay, so the purpose of my research was to create practical recommendations for the readers and viewers to why it is so important. So my first recommendation is to share your troubles with others, because people usually have a positive response. Yes, online communities have the reputation for being bad and negative, but our research shows that at least 55% of comments supported the user in one way or another. This is an excellent alternative for those who can't afford psychologists or have poor family backgrounds. Additionally, the anonymity within these websites, specifically Reddit, allows people to share their thoughts without being judged. Still, scientists need to explore how to leverage social media to ensure that it provides adequate care to its users. Secondly, show the gravity of your troubles when sharing information with others. As a collector of posts and comments, many seemed ambiguous to whether the poster was joking or not. This led many comments making fun of the poster even if they seemed serious. Thus, writing words like meme or joke to signify that your comment is for a joke purpose, or write the word serious behind a post that is serious can help people understand what the message you are trying to convey through your post or comment. And then lastly, and most important, become an active member in these online communities. Understand that many people are still scared to attend these communities because of the social stigma behind them. Thus, writing anecdotes from your life is essential, or starting conversations in the comments is an amazing alternative. For example, we had one poster who shared a list of advice on their 20th birthday. Though it was uncalled for, the response from the community was positive. People loved his posts and really could connect with him. Thus, we encourage people to become an active participant in these communities to make them seem more supportive and reduce that stigma behind them for how bad people think they are to be. So these are some of the references I used for my research. And I would like to thank my mentor, Dr. Ian Stark, my parents, and Polygence for providing me with the opportunity to do this research project.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mohid. Let me turn on my camera. There's actually one question that the mentor who was reviewing your work asked, which I think is a really interesting one. So I'll start with that one. And then for anyone else who has questions, feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat. So the question from the mentor was, how do you think these findings would change, if at all, if the sample size were drawn from online communities that are a little bit less supportive than Reddit? Let's say a Facebook or a Twitter or other kind of social media sites. Do you think the findings would be different?
So the findings and the posts in general would be completely different, because in something like Facebook, Twitter, and these sorts of social media websites, there isn't the anonymity that is provided by Reddit. So people will already be quite hesitant with posting such information. So even if they were to post something behind anxiety, mental health, depression, and self-esteem, they would probably post something that is, advancing, or that's promoting them, or, something that they succeeded in. So thus the results would be much more positive because nothing really negative is being posted.
Got it. Got it. And if you were to give advice to, let's say, a teenager who's trying to decide what kinds of social media platforms to get involved in, what would your recommendation be given, the background of your research?
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend Reddit because as I looked through Reddit and how anonymous it was, how people just seemed generally supportive, it just seemed to be a really good option for people to post. And when people start showing that their comments are really serious and they're not joking about what they're saying, it makes it an even more supportive environment.
Got it. Great. Any other questions for Mohid from the audience or from other speakers? There's one from Victoria, which is, how do you think Reddit has prevented a dark turn in their posting?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How do you think Reddit has prevented sort of its community from becoming more dark?
So yes, Reddit, what they do is they have bots that go around each of the posts that can flare them as serious, like based on common keywords that the algorithm has. So for example, because I was touching on such a controversial and deep topic of mental health and anxiety and depression, many posts were flared as serious based on certain like words and how people were venting.
Interesting. Fascinating. And last question that I think I asked one of our first presenters too. Do you plan on continuing to pursue this research in college and beyond, or what are the next steps for this particular research project?
Yep. So I actually currently am in the process of applying to certain research labs where I can use neuroscience to understand this decision-making process and, the process, like what is going on in adolescents' minds as they make decisions to use certain social medias. And whatnot. So yeah, currently, now that I have a basic understanding, I want to kind of further this research using biology. And also, if I have the opportunity to do so, I would like to conduct a survey from people around my state, where I can ask them, not just use a social media platform, but ask people in my state about these issues and how they feel about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mohid, for this wonderful presentation, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors and in your research lab application.